again, guys. It's Mrs. Hope. Welcome to Lessons in My Living Room. Today is episode 3, where we learn about fractions as division problems. So we actually have 2 objectives for this lesson today. The first one is that we can interpret fractions as division of the numerator, top number, by the denominator or bottom number. So remember, we've talked about this in class. That fraction bar actually is a division symbol, meaning divided by. The second objective that we will work on today is that we can solve problems involving division of whole numbers and write our answers as fractions or mixed numbers. All right, let's get started. Since we are going to be talking today about dividing, I thought, I'd like to make some cookies to share. So I made some cookies. Funny story, not so funny. I made these cookies yesterday, and I told my kids, don't eat these cookies, I need them. Well, I have a 15-year-old son, and as those of you that have teenage brothers know, they eat a lot. And he ate some of those cookies, so I didn't have enough for my lesson today. So this morning, I whipped up some delicious paper cookies. One nice thing about paper cookies is they don't make a mess when you cut them. Look for the positives, right? So to help me with this lesson, I have invited some special friends. So I'd like you to say hello to Yoshi. Yoshi will be here to help me with division. I also have a special friend. This is Waluigi. He says hello. And last but not least, for the moment, my next friend is a pig from Minecraft. All right. So as you can see, I have 3 friends that are joining me. And I'd like to welcome these 3 friends by sharing some of my cookies with them. So I'm going to go to my plate of cookies, and I have grabbed 2 cookies. I've got a problem, right? I have 2 cookies, but 3 friends that want to eat those 2 cookies. What should I do? Well, I could give one to Yoshi and one to the pig, but then I'm pretty sure Waluigi would be a little bit mad about that. So let's think. Let's divide. I'm going to look at these 3 friends, and I'm going to take each cookie and I'm going to divide it into thirds. So if I divide this cookie into thirds, each friend gets 1/3 of that cookie. I can do the same thing with this cookie. I'm going to divide it into thirds and again give each friend 1/3 of this cookie. So now they all have cookies and they all have the same amount of cookies. Each friend has 2/3 of a cookie. 1/3 of this cookie, 1/3 of this cookie, 2/3 of a cookie. So they were able to share the cookie equally, even though there were less cookies than friends. Let's look at that using numbers. So I started with 3 friends, and those 3 friends wanted to share 2 cookies. So I thought to myself, I'm going to take these 2 cookies and divide it for my 3 friends. So here is the first cookie. Here is the second cookie. And I divided them into thirds and gave each one 1/3. That would look like this. 2 wholes divided by 3. Or 2/3, which is our answer of 2/3. So really what I did is I took the cookies, made that my top number, and took the number of friends wanting to share the cookies and made that into my bottom number. Great. let's look at another example. So for this example, I'm going to need another friend to help me out. So I have a very special friend to help for this one. This friend is Happy Hippo. All right. Happy Hippo is going to sit in my lap, hopefully. Okay. So now I have 4 friends that want to share some cookies. I'm going to go to my pile of cookies. And for these 4 friends, I'm going to pull out 3 cookies. So again, I don't have enough cookies to give everybody one. Somebody would be left out, and that somebody would be sad. So I have to divide these. Think about it. How could I divide this one cookie so that every friend gets the same amount? You're right. I can divide the cookies into 4ths. I'm going to do them all at once. So I'm going to cut the cookies in half and then in half again. So now each cookie has been divided into 4 pieces. Now that I've cut the cookies into smaller pieces, I can distribute them evenly or equally to these friends. Let's see. 1 for Yoshi, 1 for Waluigi, 1 for the pig, 1 for Happy Hippo. Yoshi, Waluigi, pig, Happy Hippo. Yoshi, Waluigi, pig, Happy Hippo. So each friend got the same amount of cookie. They got 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4, or 3/4 of a cookie. So they were able to share it equally. Let's take a look at what that would look like using numbers. So if I have 3 cookies and I'm sharing them with 4 friends, this is divide. Hopefully you can see that. Good. So my cookies are my top number and my friends are my bottom number. So if I have 3 and I'm dividing it by 4, my answer is 3/4. Because 3/4 plus 3/4 plus 3/4 plus 3/4, Happy Hippo's 3/4, that would give us the equivalent of 3 wholes. Hopefully this is making sense. All right, let's look at another example. I'm going to use my same 4 friends. Excuse me. My same 4 friends. But this time I have some more cookies. So I'm going to go to my pile of cookies and I'm going to pull out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cookies. Excuse my cats playing in the background. 5 cookies. So now each friend can get a whole cookie. 1 for you, 1 for you, 1 for you, and 1 for you. Now I have this one left. I could eat it, but I'm not sharing these cookies. Think about, how do we divide the cookies before? We cut them into pieces. Well, how many pieces do I need to cut this cookie into? 4 pieces, because there are 4 friends. So I'm going to cut this cookie, and only this cookie, into 4ths. And if I do that, I give a 4th to each friend. And if I look, each friend now has 1 and 1/4 cookie. So that tells me that when I divide 5 by 4, my answer is going to be a mixed number. Let's look at that using the math. All right, at this time, I'd like to say thank you to my friends for helping out and let them get back to their busy schedules around my house. All right, let's see what that would look like. I had 5, there we go, cookies that I shared among 4 friends. So in doing so, I have 5 divided by 4. The 5 goes on top and the 4 goes on the bottom. And if you remember, we always check our fractions to make sure that they are proper. before we say that we're finished. So over here, this is improper. So I would divide 4 into 5. And 4 goes in one whole time with a remainder of 1, which gives us 1 and 1/4. And if you remember from the paper cookies, that's how much each friend got. So that's pretty much all you do. You take the first number in your division sentence, that becomes your top number, and the second number in your division sentence becomes your bottom number. Let's look at another example. This one, I'm just going to tell you the situation and write down the numbers to go along with it. So let's say that I now have 20 cookies, don't I wish, and 20 cookies is going to be shared among 8 friends. So really, I have 20 cookies divided by 8. Now let's think about this before we even write our fraction. If I'm thinking about 20 and 8 and I'm comparing them to each other, 20 is more than 8. So that tells me that my answer is going to be a mixed number. All right, let's see. 20 goes on top and 8 goes on the bottom. There's my fraction. Now, because it is improper, I'm going to divide 8 into 20. 8 goes into 20 2 whole times. 2 times 8 is 16, and I have 4 left. So I have 2 remainder 4. Now, that would give me 2 wholes and 4 over 8, which is the answer. But remember, we always want to look for those common factors, and 4 and 8 can be reduced because they have a common factor of 4. So I'm going to divide them both by 4. Now, my 2 wholes are going to stay the same, so I'm going to write those up here in my answer. And then 4 divided by 4 is 1. 8 divided by 4 is 2. So my answer is 2 and 1/2. So if I had 20 cookies and I had 8 friends that were sharing them, each friend would get 2 1/2 cookies. Not a bad deal. All right, I'm going to give you one. I want you to try it on your own. See if you can come up with the answer, because this is basically what your practice page for today is going to look like. So I have 14 and I'm dividing it by 4. What fraction would that be? Write it down. Okay, hopefully you wrote 14 over 4. Remember, the first number goes on top and the second number goes on the bottom. Excuse me. Now, let's look and see. Is this okay? It's an improper fraction. So we're going to divide 4 into 14. And 4 will go into 14 3 times. 4 times 3 is 12, so we have a remainder of 2. So my whole number is 3, and my fraction is going to be 2 over 4, which I know has a common factor of 2. So I divide the top and bottom by 2, and that gives me 2 divided by 2, 1, and 4 divided by 2, 2. So 3 and 1/2 is the mixed number. Great. Let's try another one. I'd like you to try 7 divided by 9. Now, if it's hard for you to think about this, just using the numbers, think about cookies. 7 cookies shared by 9 friends. If we compare 7 to 9, 7 is less than 9. So that tells me that my answer is going to be a fraction, a proper fraction, not an improper fraction. Go ahead and write that fraction. I got 7/9. Hopefully you did too. There are no common factors, so that's our answer. All right, one last example, and then I think you will have this down and be ready to go. So let's say that I have 19 cookies, and 2 friends want to share those 19 cookies because they're small. They're small cookies. All right, write that as a fraction. Hopefully you will notice that it is improper and you need to divide to get your answer. So the improper fraction you should have is 19 over 2. Go ahead and divide that to come up with your mixed number. All right, hopefully you got 9 1/2 as your mixed number. Great. All right, today's practice page is all types of questions like this. If you get stuck or you need any help, please check in on the Zoom meetings if you can, or send me a message and we'll try to get together on Google Hangouts. All right, thanks so much for joining me again, guys. Take care. See you next time. Bye-bye.